Mile Pointers. Guess who? This guy right here, Gary Leff, one of the co-founders of MilePoint. And you know what? He's the star of the Colbert Report, which we'll have a link to right after this video. So, Gary, how did all that come about?
Actually, they just reached out to me and asked me if I was familiar with the story of Delta closing the account of a frequent flyer that had been accumulating miles for their cello, and what did I think of it? And mostly they wanted to know if I'd be willing to speak up for Delta.
Yeah, but you didn't want to speak up for the cello?
I had no personal opinion really about the cello as such. I think it's fantastic. Lynn Harrell is an incredible musician. I have no qualms with him traveling with his cello. The question was whether he ought to be accumulating miles in an account for his cello when the Delta Sky Miles rules say that a person can't have more than one, an inanimate object can't have an account, and they had actually reached out to him and said, hey, don't do that again.
Yeah.
And he kept doing it anyway, and time passed, and they said, hey, we told you not to do it. We're going to have to close your accounts. And I said, all right, fine, I'll come to New York. I'll speak up for Delta. And, when they hadn't told me who the butt of the joke was, I had to assume that was going to be me. And I figured it's the Colbert Report. Why not go with it?
What's interesting is that you may be the first person in this world that actually has stood up for Delta Airlines.
It's probably, I found it a little bit surprising to a lot of folks, but honestly, I've got to call it when I see it. I think Delta does a fantastic job running their airline. They have more Wi-Fi domestically than anyone else. They have great in-flight entertainment, pimped out planes.
Hold on a second. We're in the middle of a commercial break, and Gary's doing the commercial for us. Okay, keep going.
No, but at the same time, I talk about when I don't think they're measuring up either. But in this case, I was willing to go to New York and say that I thought Delta was acting reasonably. And then the fantastic thing about it was, if it were just about frequent flyer miles, it may not have been that interesting to the Colbert Report. But these are really smart people, and ostensibly it was about a frequent flyer account, but to the Colbert Report, it was actually about the issue of same-sex marriage.
Yeah. But I do have a question. Tell us about the bedroom scene. The bedroom scene. How did that come about? And if I'm not mistaken, there were twin beds in there. Is that on your account? What hotel was that? Did you get any points? And what's the idea with twin beds? Everybody gets a king. What's going on here, Gary?
So the first thing that happened is they did send me to New York. They put me up at a hotel. It was not the hotel we filmed in. I stayed at the Hudson, one of the Morgan's properties. And the really interesting thing is the first time I've been in a hotel in New York without status in a very long time. I had forgotten how small the rooms would be. So the room was small enough that the furniture was small to make the room look big. And they put 2 TVs in it to make it seem like there were separate sitting areas. The problem was the TVs were the same brand, so the remote control would turn them both on and both off at the same time. Okay, this is the idea of what happens when you don't have status with a hotel chain. So we met at this other hotel that's down the street from their studio. They were about to go on hiatus. They share studios with the Daily Show. Daily Show was about to go on hiatus too. Okay. Both of them were simultaneously taping 5 or 6 things. They've got no studio space. They have camera crews, nowhere to film. So in my room, we were filming. Down the hall, the Daily Show was filming at this hotel, unaffiliated hotel, just near the studio.
Okay.
And this was not where I actually spent the night. It was also, I only went up for one night. I had my laptop bag, nothing else. They gave me a carry-on bag to use, for the B-roll walking down the halls. That wasn't actually my carry-on.
So what kind of carry-on was that? What brand? What do you use in your spare time as an extra, as a prop?
So as a prop, I think it's a secondhand bag that was once $20 at Target. It was bright blue and it was fraying. And it's the kind of thing that I carried when I was fresh out of college, before I could afford, the sort of bags that I love and.
The good old days. Gary goes back to the good old days, and here he is, rock star blogger right here on the Colbert Report. But we got a couple other questions here. So we went through the bedroom scene, the winky bedroom scene. But, one thing, and everybody out there watching this really wants to know, And you need to give us the look. I mean, you know, actors and stars of your caliber go through an entire acting career, and they have that defining moment that everybody remembers. And that one, I've watched the video a couple times, and there's a scene in that movie, if you will, where you're in bed, the bedroom scene again, and you're reading the Delta Report or something like that, and you look up into the audience. You look up into the camera, and that's the look. Can you replicate the look, if you will, for our audience?
So they had me give a couple of looks several different times, and we had a bunch of different takes on it. I think when I was looking up from the Delta rule book, I sort of looked down at the book and I went up and go. The idea was
that's the look. That's the
right.
look. I thought he got the look.
I did the look a bunch of other times. They call it a hero shot. I'm standing at the window, and I open the drapes, turn around at the camera, and just look.
You just saw the hero look.
I don't know that I was the hero. I think they call it the hero shot.
Oh, the hero.
I may have been shot trying to be the hero.
But it had to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it was an absolute blast. I mean, this is, as I say, I figured that, I was playing the role that it was a little bit, making fun of, but it was all in great fun and happy to go along with it, and I really enjoyed watching it. It was, I thought it came out great.
Yeah. Hey, we just got a question in on Twitter during the filming of this, and everybody wants to know, Gary, how many takes did it take to do the look?
So I think the biggest problem with the look wasn't the look itself, it was the lighting in the room. So the cameraman, kept saying that he wasn't happy with the way that it was lit, and so we probably did it 6 or 8 times in the window, and I don't even know how many times we did it on the bed. They also had me do versions of it where I was flipping all of my frequent flyer cards down on the bed also, but that didn't make it into the shot.
We call that an action shot here.
Well, I think they called it B-roll.
B-roll. So, Gary, we covered the bedroom scene. We got the look. Everybody saw the look. Now, what's next for Gary? I mean, you're out there now. You're a known quantity or a known person in Hollywood now in terms of TV. What's next for Gary Leff?
Well, I think now I'm going to go on strike.
Strike against Delta,
so that I can demand more money than zero. Honestly, it was a great time. I enjoyed doing it. I'd be happy to do anything like that again. But it's sort of, serendipitous. They called me. It seemed like something that would work. If there are hopefully more opportunities like that in the future, I can't wait to take advantage of them. But, these things come along.
All great. Here we are on MilepointTV in the moment with Gary Leff right here. One more time, the look. Damn, that's a good look. Gary, thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot, Randy.
Milepoint, in the moment, MilepointTV. Bye now.